are the beating heart and soul of all sports clubs and organizations, and their unwavering support and passion at the core of the industry. Now, in the world of sports, fan engagement is the key to success. It is a level of involvement, interaction, and emotional connection between fans and the games they follow. It goes beyond passive viewing and includes active participation, support, and loyalty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics Insight podcast, where we talk about the ever evolving technology space. And I'm your host, Priya Dayalani. Now, by blending the world of sports with technology, teams and leagues can engage their audiences in ways previously unimaginable. Being a spectator at a sports arena has evolved beyond more cheering and just observing. In today's digital era, fans are brought into the heart of the action through the power of real-time engagement and interactivity. And to highlight more on this, today we have Ranga Jagannath, Senior Director Growth at Agora, to talk more about real-time fan engagement in sports. Hi Ranga, how are you doing?
Hey Priya, doing good. I hope you're doing well as well, and thank you for having me here.
Great. Thank you so much. I'm doing good too. And it's a pleasure to have you with us on a podcast. So let's start by telling our listeners more about Agora, what exactly Agora is, and how it is related with fan engagement in sports and what exactly it specializes into.
Absolutely. So Agora is a cloud-based platform which enables real-time engagement via live, interactive video, voice, and text-based capabilities. What this means is that while there are a lot of platforms out there that you can use off the shelf to engage with your users on live interactive content, there are times and reasons when you need to actually have a very custom kind of solution for the content that you are likely to create. And that's where Agora comes in, where we provide a platform that's completely cloud-based, AI-driven, which allows you to uh, create content that is live, interactive on voice, video, and text. We actually power a lot of use cases, ranging from edtech to sports to telemedicine to gaming, live shopping, and several other use cases. So think of it as a completely white labeled platform that developers and product managers and organizations can embed into their workflow that provides extremely low latency, high quality capability for live interactivity. So that in a nutshell is what Agora is all about.
Great. Sounds pretty fascinating. And definitely, when we're talking about sports, real-time fan engagement is something that probably every sport enthusiast would want in today's digital era. And I think it's no longer just about the live match. I think fans expect a very different experience from live sports. And when real-time engagement comes into picture, I think it can deliver a new way in which fans can interact with their specific team or a particular brand, leading to a very long-term sticky relationships. Well, moving ahead, we would also like to know more about your role, or can you tell us more about yourself and contribution towards the company?
Yeah, so I was kind of quote a few Bollywood movies of the past. I was employee number one for Agora in India, about 7-8 years ago, and I lead sales and growth for Agora in the Indian subcontinent and Middle East. My role is essentially to grow the business, but apart from that, my role is also to make sure that I take the team along with me and help them in their career path and growth journey and aspirations. So that's my role at Agora. But outside of work, I do several other things, including being a long distance runner, a fitness enthusiast, playing several sports. And a couple of my other interests also include long form writing, podcasting, and an amateur interest in astrophysics. So it's a lot of things that I end up juggling as part of my role at work and outside of work.
Great, quite impressive, I must say, Rangan. I think being a sport enthusiast, you're more likely inclined towards how probably you can scale up Agora and, of course, its operations.
Absolutely.
Right. And I've been reading across a couple of articles regarding, fan engagement and how technology is playing a key role in enhancing sports viewing experience. Now, some experts find that fan engagement in sports or other type of entertainment is about the emotional connection that is created between the team or performer with the fans. Now, if fans stop showing support by no longer attending events and games or buying merchandises or sharing event related information on social media, many sports teams and entertainers would fail to succeed, is what they say. So I want to understand from your end, what are your views on the current landscape of sports viewing experience, or how do you think technology can enhance that, or what exactly are your views around it?
Absolutely. So let me kind of break that down into a few different parts in my mind before I answer it. The question about how has sports viewing experience or viewing experience in general, how has it changed? Of course, from the time of terrestrial viewing, where we had probably just one or two channels, uh, to the day and age where we have content that's available, or the same content that's available in different forms and formats. I think we have come a long way. So that in some ways encapsulates the essence of what the viewing experience has become today. And now with the advent and use of mobiles and that coming into the play as maybe a second screen experience. When I say second screen experience, I think a lot of us experience content, sports especially, or would like to consume content on the biggest screen that is available. And that right now is the television. But there is a lot of activity that we see and a lot of uptake that we see on the mobile phones as well. A lot of content is getting consumed on the mobile phones, even as people are watching content on the television screen. And that leads us to believe, also because sports specifically inherently is something that one would like to watch in groups or pairs, could be the same team, could be rival teams, whatever it is, but it's something that's typically enjoyed in the company of other people. And in the absence of a television viewing experience for whatever reason, is when the mobile comes in handy, where you can actually have very engaging conversations amongst fans, between teams and fans, between players and fans, and anyone else, including brands in the ecosystem, to be able to use this very powerful device that we carry in our hands. And in that context is where companies like Agora or technologies like Agora kind of shine, because it enables people to have a very engaging experience, even though they might be watching a game or sport all alone. So, in that sense, the viewing experience is shifting from even from a very rich digital experience that we already have into a much more evolved and digital experience that we anticipate will happen on mobile phones. So, in the years to come, I think the mobile will play a very significant role in the sports viewing experience, is what I personally feel as an amateur sports person, but also as an organization, Agora feels that strongly too.
Right, and I think I would like to tag myself also here, where I also believe that mobile phones have definitely changed how we are consuming content. Whether it's just sports, or you're consuming any content, whether it's streaming your favorite series on Netflix or any other OTT platform. So you're on the go, and you can just tap into your
Mhm.
mobile phone and open the app and view anytime. Even if you're traveling or something. So yeah, mobile phones have definitely changed how you're viewing or consuming content, specifically sports content.
And also, if I can just butt in there,
Sure.
also we tend to think that sports fans need to be engaged typically during a game or a sport that's going on, but that need not always be the case, because a lot of times it's while sports property obviously has the highest number of eyeballs when the sport is live, there is a lot of engagement with the franchise or with that sports property or with brands that can happen before the game or the season starts, and even after the game or season ends. So we're looking at an end-to-end spectrum kind of thing. So while the television viewing experience is probably at its peak during a sport, it's the pre and post where mobile phones, interactivity, fan engagement, brand engagement, and all that comes into the picture. And I think that's where we feel that there's a lot of potential for mutual growth in live sports engagement. I just wanted to bring that in before we
Right.
move on.
No, that's fine. And I think that makes sense because the last decade fan attendance at live sporting events has been on a continual decline. And the improved quality of traditional broadcasting and the newer live streaming services, coupled with a decreasing price of high resolution television and internet, has brought many options for fans to watch and enjoy their favorite sporting competition from the comfort of their own sofa and even from a connected mobile device, like I just mentioned. So as a result, sporting event organizers are coming up with new and innovative ways to attract spectators back to the stadiums. And like you said, the pre and the post sporting event are some of the areas where I think mobile is playing a very crucial role. So can you tell us more about, the significance of dynamic fan engagement and live streaming in transforming the entire sports viewing experience?
Yes, so like I mentioned previously, typically sports are watched and enjoyed in an environment where there are other fans, or also when there is some friendly banter that's going on between rival teams and sports fans. And that's the natural tendency or behavior that we observe. And this is something that sports fans look forward to. But in certain situations, this experience is not replicable in person. And that's where real time engagement comes in. When I say, and let's look at how it kind of works. Real time engagement enables fans and franchises and teams to engage with each other and mimic that entire experience that one would have as an in person experience. This could be in the form of watch parties where you could have people watching content together, but you could also probably have celebrities or sports people that are part of that entire ecosystem to also engage with fans when they are having this virtual conversation or this virtual watch party that they have. So that's an example where live engagement makes it extremely engaging for everyone involved to be a part of. That's one. And to go back to the pre-game experience and shows, you could have AMAs with the players, coaches. There could also be live interactive behind the scene with teams that can kind of increase the engagement with a franchise or with the sport. So these are some of the areas that we think that sports properties and fans can consider or should consider as part of their engagement and their branding and their monetization plans as we evolve in this whole landscape of, I won't say replacing televisions, but coexisting with televisions. I think these are some areas, and that's where solutions like ours kind of come in, and we enable extremely seamless, low latency, high quality, even multi-camera, because these days you have multiple cameras, professional cameras that are on the field, but nothing stops a fan or fan engagement also to have multiple cameras in their own environments and settings and engage with users and brands and rivals and what have you. So we have something called as player knockouts as an example, where you could have 100 or 1,000 people that are following a particular influencer on one team. Similarly, 100 or 1,000 people or more following an influencer on the other team. Both of them having a debate or a conversation, fans moving across from one side to the other, back and forth, engaging with the influencers, voting them in, voting them out, who is the best, who is better. And this kind of opens up a lot of possibilities, both on the engagement side and on the monetization side. So the possibilities are limitless, but that's one of the areas that we feel where dynamic fan engagement can really break through the ceilings when it comes to live streaming. We've just kind of hit the tip of the iceberg, so to say, but I think there's a lot more to explore.
Right, definitely. And with different technologies emerging, I think we will explore more untapped opportunities. And if you consider the modern era, I think people or fans are today are not just interested in viewing at the scoreboard. They're craving for more ongoing interaction
Mhm.
that goes beyond the boundaries of the game itself. And along with the digital community centered around everybody who is loving sports. And like you mentioned, trends like live streaming or real time engagement offers more global accessibility and flexibility, while interactive stats and social media integration can enhance the overall engagement. So I think it's not just about watching, but It's about how probably companies can give fans to experience the live in action that's actually happening on the ground. And while they're cheering for the team or chatting with fellow fans, these elements can bring all matches or competitions to life, making every moment count. With all such experiences, when we're talking about, can you tell us more about Agora's innovative solutions that enhance real-time engagement, and if you can share some case studies or some success metrics as well?
Yes, well, I cannot share specific numbers, but
Right.
recently fans might have experienced the watch party feature during the recently concluded IPL, which was on the Geo Cinema app. So we did see a massive uptake in those numbers. Whenever the watch party feature was enabled, we did see obviously a lot of engagement that we saw. Of course, we don't have access to exactly what conversations happened or what type of information was shared. But we did see a lot of engagement and uptake in such features like the watch party that we just had on the IPL on Geo Cinema app. So that's one example where companies are innovating and trying to see how they can engage fans despite the availability of the feed on television. So that's one part of it. But apart from those features which I mentioned earlier as well, uh, it's also important for brands and for sports properties to realize that there is a lot of content that they can actually use meaningfully by capturing certain information that happens as part of those conversations. And this is not just from a point of view of selling stuff or for brands to make money out of it, but also to get some insights into human behavior itself. I'll give you an example of how something like this can be used. And you actually did kind of allude to this earlier when you said that it kind of makes it accessible and international. So imagine a scenario where you have a fan of a particular team that knows a particular language, but the other fan does not speak the same language. Now we have capability that you can actually translate what's going on in real time and share that with a person that does not understand your language, and that person can respond back in their language, translating it back into a language that you can understand. This opens up a lot of possibilities. It might sound, okay, what's the big deal here? And it might sound, oh, this is wishful thinking, but we have already seen evidence of that in several of our experiments in different use cases, including sports fan engagement. So this is one. The other thing is that while it obviously looks and feels good to have live conversations, there's also a lot of things that one has to factor in terms of, for example, if the ambient noise is extremely noisy. Sports fan, typically there would be a lot of noise, but if the conversation is being hampered because of that noise, then there should be something that can suppress those background noises that are not actually adding value to that conversation. So using AI-based noise suppression, for example, that we have, you can actually suppress and cut down all the extraneous noises that are not useful for that conversation. The other one I mentioned is the multi-viewing capability, multi-camera viewing capability. So that's another one. But there are also innovative things like you can actually have, I don't know what it's called exactly. Different platforms use different terms, but I'll just call them face masks. So people can actually buy, for example, face masks of their favorite players or teams or personalities and have conversations with others by having microtransactions. So you can actually enable microtransactions for these face masks, which may be valid for a few minutes to maybe a few hours or for a day. And then the sports fan feels as if they are actually representing the person that they are mimicking out there. So there are different possibilities here that we can do to enhance just the two-dimensional aspect of live audio and video. But yeah, these are some of the examples and innovations that come top of my mind since you asked me about what else can we do to enhance the real-time engagement experience.
quite innovative, I must say, and I never thought that probably all these solutions or innovative aspects can be integrated in terms of sports viewing or enjoying sports. And
Absolutely.
yes, definitely technology is taking it to another level, and it is trying to continuously transform fan engagement. Like I was just reading a couple of researches, and I found that certain companies are already using different technologies. For example, loyalty programs that reward actions with points or badges, and AR experiences that offer event or sneak peeks are changing how fans can connect with events and building anticipation and excitement. And they can also master cross selling with strategic insights. For example, companies can leverage deep customer insights and even data. Platforms can now offer more relevant add-ons with more
Right.
targeted advertisements and specifically boosting their revenue. And I think one more technology that can probably enhance sport viewing is 5G, I assume, compared because of its high speed network and low latency. I think that could be one of the major breakthroughs that probably you can have at your organization.
So
Right.
before you go to the next one, if I can just interrupt you there. So you brought up
Sure.
5G, and while 5G definitely has its own advantages and brings and opens up a lot of possibilities, the good
Mm-hmm.
thing about Agora is that we don't really need extremely high speed capabilities
Okay.
on the network or the device,
Mm-hmm.
because we continuously optimize our networks to work even when conditions are suboptimal. So while
Right.
5G definitely will enhance the experience, it is
Mhm.
not a prerequisite for Agora, and that's one of the areas that we actually shine in. So just wanted to
Okay.
kind of bring it out there.
Great. I definitely have a question, a follow-up question on that. So my next question was like a two-part question. So I wanted to understand how do you foster innovation within the company and probably use cutting-edge solutions, and also probably you mentioned that Agora is currently now not leveraging the power of 5G, but in future or the years to come, and probably 5G would become like an integral part of our lives. Do you think Agora would then adopt 5G to enhance its solutions?
Oh, absolutely. So when I said that we don't need high-speed networks, I did not mean to say that or we won't use 5G. What I meant is that even without 5G, because the 5G rollout will happen in phases, and we don't
Right.
have to wait for 5G to be rolled out everywhere to make experiences better. Even without 5G, we make experiences great and delightful. But yes, we already on the path of deploying our solutions on 5G networks wherever it is available. So we are completely abreast with technology. That's one. But to go back to your question in terms of how do we foster innovation at Agora, so if you look at the publicly available information that we put out there, a lot of our money and resources actually go back into continuous R&D. So in some ways, while we are extremely customer focused and we build solutions which our customers ask us to build, we also are investing heavily into R&D for the next stage or phase of cutting edge technologies or devices or networks that will be out there. So these two kind of run in parallel. So one is building what our customers want, and the second one is building something that customers may not be wanting right now or thinking of right now, but something that will make sense 2 3 years down the line. So that's a little bit about our innovation philosophy. We are extremely invested in R&D. So that's one part. The second thing is we also work externally with our partners and developers around the world in improving the product and the quality of the product and service that we offer. So we have an extremely active developer evangelism program where we get input from fabulous developers around the world. So that's another way that it feeds into our innovation engine. So that's one. Uh, but these are more at the organization level, at a product level. My personal philosophy around innovation is that I encourage teammates not to be afraid to take risks and to work alongside with our customers and partners to solve not just tech problems, because tech problems is definitely something that one has to solve for. But in today's day and age, I think it's also important to solve commercial issues very innovatively. So I would look at innovation both from a tech point of view and from a commercial point of view. And I think we've kind of understood how this whole scenario pans out and works and kind of goes in lockstep with each other. So we are continuously innovating in all areas that kind of impact our customers through different ways, means, levels, however we can. So, but innovation is something that's kind of deeply ingrained in Agora's DNA.
Well, so glad to know about it. And yes, I think you rightly mentioned that innovation is not just creating a tech-enabled solution and calling it as innovation, but I think it's also probably if we can change a perspective or towards a particular problem and come up with a solution, then I think that can also be one of the innovations or innovative strategies that one can deploy across the organizations. Now, moving ahead, I wanted to talk about the other side of the coin. So I think when we're talking about fan engagement, it's very difficult to strike the right chord with fans. Now, for example, too much engagement can be annoying, while
Mhm.
too little can make fans forget about the events. And since it's rapidly evolving, I think one of the major changes is the rising influence of a generation Gen Z. This demographic is known for its unique digital habits and values, and it's redefining how sports clubs should approach fan engagement and interaction. Now, for example, nearly 50% of the Gen Z population want to use a second screen while consuming
Right.
live sports action. So, are there any certain challenges that you're facing in the industry overall, and probably how do you intend to overcome them?
So I'll probably take a philosophical approach to this problem than spelling out what the challenges
Sure.
exactly are.
Right.
So from time to time, any industry obviously faces headwinds,
Mhm.
and I think Agora's philosophy has been to overcome them in very simple ways. One is to respect those challenges, understand those challenges, and go back to the drawing board, come up with innovative ways to kind of deal with those challenges and not be afraid to take the path that is less taken or less trodden. So this is kind of the philosophical answer, that as an organization we respect the challenges, we enjoy the challenges, but we always go back to the drawing board and see how we can do better to overcome these challenges. Some of the challenges are not really in our control, markets, COVID, for example. None of this was or is in our control. Whatever we can control is what we do. And yes, we are very much in tune with what the current generation expects and demands. They don't like, or they don't prefer long form content which is unidirectional. They want content that's bite sized. They want content that's interactive. They want content that's innovative. They want content that's probably extremely personalized to their likes and dislikes. So, to that extent, while we don't directly talk to consumers because we are in the B2B business, we don't directly talk to consumers, but through our customers, we understand what some of these requirements are, and we continuously work along with our customers to deliver this kind of content. So recently there was actually not so much in the sports engagement space, but in the social space, there was a requirement to kind of take small, let's say, what are they called, shorts or reels or snips or whatever you want to call them, snippets, as a conversation is actually happening live. So if you and I are talking in real time, and I think that you are going to say something interesting in the next few minutes, I can actually snip that content in a real time conversation and push it out to social media, and then get people to come and listen to this conversation in real time. So that's something that we actually help one of our social customers implement. It was not something that we offer as a service, but it was something that the customer wanted, and we worked with them to deliver the solution for them. So these are ways in which we actually keep abreast of what people actually want and how they want to consume content. So kind of a long answer, but two parts to it. One is the philosophical side of this, and one is an actual implementation of how we go about implementing things which our customers and their consumers want.
Right. No, definitely makes sense, and it's very important how you're addressing your customers' needs or how the audience base is changing. And with more innovation, I think that there's more room than ever to connect with fans and also meeting your customer preferences and requirements. So one last question for you, Ranga, and that would be, what are your views on the future of fan engagement, or what trends probably we can expect in the future that might change sports viewing experience?
So, Priya, we are just, I think, like I mentioned earlier, the tip of the iceberg at the moment. The mobile is becoming a key viewing device, and like you also mentioned, it is something that offers the second screen experience. The possibilities, I think, are massive. Sports, like I said, inherently needs interactivity, and not just during the sport, but also before and after the live sport experience is over. So, both at a personal level as an amateur sports person and as a representative of Agora, I think we are bullish about the future of sports fan engagement as a subset of the overall sports viewing experience. So, in my personal and professional view, I think the outlook is extremely bright when it comes to the future of sports fan engagement. We have just kind of scratched the surface. And I think in the months and years to come, I think if we were to have a conversation, let's say 2 or 3 years from now, I think the tone and tonality and the fervor of this whole conversation would be completely different. But that's my hope and expectation. But who knows? This is just me gazing into a crystal ball.
Right. Yeah, and I think we are definitely clueless sometimes as to what trends can take place and how we must adapt to it. But ultimately, I think big sports or big events are inherently social. The experience of being together with other people with same interests is what makes sports so exciting, and interactive features, like we discussed in entire podcast, allows everybody to get a bit of the same excitement or engagement, even if they're watching it at home on a TV, or they're at a live event or on a mobile phone. But more interactive streaming solutions will undoubtedly play a large role in how people consume sports and live sports basically. And increased personalization and gamification will also transform viewers and spectators into more active audiences and grow the evolving field of sports viewing experience. Well, thank you so much, Ranga. It was a pleasure having you with us. And I think we definitely gained some insights regarding the sports viewing experience or real time engagement, or how dynamic fan engagement are crucial these days, and how it can also shape the future of how people are going to enjoy sports. So, thank you so much. It was a pleasure having you with us on a podcast.
Likewise, Priya, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. So this is for our listeners. Stay tuned for upcoming podcast, and you can view and listen all our previous podcasts on Spotify and other leading platforms. Thank you so much.